Yeah.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah, I've got it.
Got it. Got it. Got it.
Yay.
Touch your face, man.
Oh, yeah. So there was these 10 big blokes. And I managed. Yeah. I ran into some scaffolding fella.
Were they from AFC Wimbledon, were they? Hey, hey.
Yeah.
Good to see you, buddy.
Yeah,
Good
yeah,
to see
really good to see. Brilliant, yeah.
There you go. Me. I got attacked by my wife last night.
Right.
Yeah. So, you want to talk about Asian Hornets or something?
Asian Hornets. So I don't know if you're aware or not. I know we asked last week to sort this out, but yesterday,
Oh, there was one up in Northumberland.
not far from me, yeah, came in on a cauliflower from France.
Yeah.
I know that I guess the one thing I would love to talk to you about is how they managed to spread and colonize, get through France so quickly, what people should be looking for, where they're going to find them, probably where they're not going to find them as well. Things like that, that's going to assist people, what they should be looking for. And then for the pest controllers, that will be more for the beekeeping side of it. And then for the pest controllers, maybe run through how to deal with them. I understand that the MBU will be dealing with them to start off with, until they've lost control. Yeah, it is what it is, isn't it? If they ever lose control, it will become a pest that I guess people like me will end up picking up.
Have you? Are you recording this? Presumably.
Yeah. It's recording. Okay. Yes. Don't say anything that you don't want people to see or hear.
Oh, it's going live, is it?
No, but I don't edit them. I just think it's best if people get to see the sort of.
I'll just have to curtail my language.
I don't mind a few swear words, and if I mark it up as not suitable for children, so if you want to F and Jeff, then if that's you, that's fine.
Okay. I spoke to Matt Davis at Killgerm UK.
Yeah.
To explain the situation. It's all very political with regard to national bee, or it's the apicultors or the beekeepers that have taken it on board that it's their problem and it's their birthright to sort the Asian Hornets out. They arrived, back to your original question, the rapidity they spread through France, it wasn't that quick. They arrived in 2004 in or around Bordeaux from a shipment from Shanghai, and they spread slowly. The first nest was found in 2004, and basically in France, the pompiers, the fire brigade, used to do all the hornet treatments. So any person with a hornet nest would phone the pompiers, and they come over and treat it for nothing. Then the Asian Hornets arrived in 2004, so they were assumed responsible. So what they do, they just got their big ladders and trutted nests. Then they decided there's too many Asian Hornet nests, and it was becoming too expensive to take two fire engines and a crew of 8, plus a paramedic, plus whatever. It was going to cost too much money. It's going to cost about 750, 1,000 euros per nest. And they went, sod, that's too expensive. Then or in France, the mayor office told the local farmers just to shoot them out the sky with a shotgun. That caused the problem.
Why?
Because they were blasting nests out, live nests out of the sky, and when you got dozens and dozens of fertile queens, they'll just spread and multiply exponentially.
Sorry, hang on a second. So within each nest there will be a large number of fertile queens
at the end of the season. Yeah. So whereas the European hornet will have a few, Asian hornets will have many fertile eggs. That's going into the entomology. I'm a pest controller, not an entomologist. So other people have done scientific test. So whatever I say is going to be picked up and corrected by somebody else and accuse me of not knowing what I'm talking about. So I'll just keep it simple.
Yeah.
So yeah, basically the fire brigade started treating the Asian hornet nest. Then it was taken over by the farmers and the hunters, and then the Asian hornets got completely out of control. I hope you're videoing both of us or just me.
Both of us.
Okay, I was just going to say, because for those not seeing it, he's stuffing his face full of food.
You know what it is? I've been out this morning. I've been ram chucker, and it's only a little thing.
No,
I can feel myself a bit lightheaded. All right, thanks.
Okay.
Sorry, it's not very professional, but I am hungry.
Yeah, well, whatever. So yeah, the problem arose from people not knowing how to treat them. Now, even the beekeepers in France tried to get involved, but anything in France is highly regulated. So if you can start using chemicals on wasps and hornets, you need to be qualified. So the government just went, all right, stop. The pompiers can't do it. There's too many of them. We're going to set up private companies or qualified pest controllers to deal with the Asian hornets. So in France, only professional pest controllers can deal with Asian hornets.
Okay.
With chemicals.
Well, is there an amateur use market in France for chemicals or not?
Is there amateur use? Yes. But you can only use them on your property.
Okay, right, got you.
The only exception are farmers. Well, I think it's the same rules apply in the UK. The farmers can buy professional products in quantity for use on their farm. They can't use it on anybody else's property. You can't go to Brico-Marché, so B&Q, buy some ant powder and go and treat your next door neighbour's wasp nest. That's illegal. Window cleaners, I mean, I've said this so many times, window cleaners over here cannot earn an extra 20 quid just to go, right, I've got a wasp nest, I'll do that for you. They'll walk off site until I've come on, treated the wasp nest, and then they'll go back and finish cleaning the windows. Same as roofers, same as chimney sweeps. They won't do it. They'll just walk away, and it's only professional people that can do it.
Okay, right.
It's highly regulated over here. It works. Everyone's got their own job. It's a pain in the ass, but it also works really well as well. It just means the window cleaner can't wait and go, I'm going to be a pest control today. So they can't do it.
Okay, right, yeah.
You have to declare what you're doing.
Right.
With regard to beekeepers, they will contact me if they find a nest. So yeah, it's down to them to contact me. The problems arise, which I don't want to upset my dear friends in a little island just off the coast of England, but my personal opinion is they've got it wrong.
So talk us through what they've done then, because I know we've spoken about this, but I'm a million miles off this, but it's now firmly on my radar after this thing's turned up.
Right. In my opinion, which I'm going to get slated for, the Asian Hornet arrived in Jersey, I think in 2016. They arrived, by the way, from 2004 to Bordeaux, where I live in the middle of France, is 400 kilometers. They arrived in our department county in 2014. So it's 10 years to travel 400 kilometers. Now, I'll give you a rundown of the quantities. In the first year, I had about 10 Asian Hornet nests. The next year was about 25. It stayed 25 until I think 2018, when it was bonkers. I had about 200 Asian Hornet nests, and then it's come right down. Last year I did probably about 50 nests in my county. And in our department is about the size of Lincolnshire. So there are 35 pest controllers in that county. So 35 pest controllers in the size of Lincolnshire in France dealing with Asian hornets. Okay.
Wow.
So it can be good business. But and what happened in Jersey, the Asian Hornets, I think, arrived in 2016. They reckon they flew over. I reckon it was possibly arrived in a cauliflower or a yucca plant or whatever. I reckon it was transported over, but whatever, it doesn't matter. They had an Asian hornet nest. So what they did, they got the beekeepers, because they've got bee suits, to assume control and take over the treating of it. So what they did in the first instance was get a cherry picker, chop down half of a perfectly healthy oak tree, and get a dustbin, and then just chop the nest off, and it dropped into the dustbin, put the lid on, and they did some experiments on it. The first year they were doing experiments, so they had live Asian hornets in a jam jar in a cafe. They released a hornet's nest to let it grow to see what happens. They grew an Asian hornet nest in a fish tank, but every time they were doing live catch of Asian hornet nests, so chopping trees down, putting them in dustbins, and then taking home. They've developed a way of freezing them, which I don't particularly approve of. They do things, it gets down to treating Asian hornet nests. You've done wasp nests, all you need to do is kill them. So kill them, do your experiments afterwards.
Right.
So this island, we shall call it Jersey for any other name, is about the size of Manchester. So it's a third of the size of the Isle of Wight. Last year they had 200 Asian hornet nests, which I think is bonkers.
That's a lot, isn't it?
It's a hell of a lot for such a small area.
I take it they're killing them now, though.
They are killing them and experimenting them. They're not using chemicals. Jersey are quite particular on the grounds that they can use French rules when they want to, use English rules when they want to, and make up their own rules when they want to. They don't use chemicals on anything. I think even the farmers don't use chemicals, so that's fine. But there are other ways of doing it: chopping trees down, digging tracks into the countryside to get a cherry picker and cut it out into a dustbin. So there's other ways of doing it.
Okay, so they're going nuts. So they're down on our south coast, and we've got a little island sitting there midway, which is
what I find about their publicity or their marketing of, we're doing such a good job, is the fact that they say that every year it's the 8th of April and we're going to all these Asian hornets wake up and go, I know, I'm going to fly over to Jersey, and then they'll multiply, do 200 nests, and they go, it's end of October now, we'll just fly back to France. I think last year was the first time they actually admitted that Asian hornets were nesting or hibernating on the island. They, or by not saying it, they suggested that all the Asian hornets every year died out, and every year the Asian hornets flew back over to Jersey every year.
right.
We all know that's a little bit probably
Not true, is it?
Yeah. The other thing is they don't generally report is that in all the time the Asian hornets have been in Jersey, they've never had a single beehive destroyed specifically down to Asian hornets.
I was watching a video with a English beekeeper in France, Richard Knoll, and he was talking about them, and he said a similar thing. But he said that what happens is that basically the hornets put the nest under so much pressure that they just don't get themselves right for winter, so they die out over the winter period. You take your Asian hornet losses in February, March, but yeah, he done quite an interesting little vlog on them. But that being said,
yeah, I know Richard well. Richard I know quite well, and
right, yeah,
respect him. Yeah, he's a beekeeper. Yes, he probably deals more with Asian hornets on bees than I do. I just deal with
Mm.
Asian Hornet nests. I'm a pest controller. That's all I do. I kill
Yeah.
the things that people say they need destroying. Or
Oh, so if we forget the politics of everything that's been and gone, we have a queen which has turned up in Northumberland and she doesn't get found, or she turns up on the south coast, she doesn't get found, or there's several of them, and they arrive on the mainland, for want of a better word. Um, what are beekeepers, pest controllers, members of the public liable to see? Where they're going to turn up, what's going to be the giveaways, like what are we looking at?
That's a very good question. You've got presumably pictures of Asian Hornets. I presume everybody watching this knows what an Asian Hornet looks like. It's smaller than a European Hornet. It's
How big are they? Actually, I should I've got one in a jar. Could you give us it? But yeah, if you can, because I was at a beekeeping thing the other day, and they said, oh, they're a big creature, very much like a European.
there you go. There's one.
So it's basically the size of a queen wasp, isn't it? It's about a third bigger than a wasp.
Yeah. So let's do a comparison with. Let's do a comparison with a something business card.
Oh yeah, perfect. Yeah.
A standard business card. There's the Asian Hornet nest. It's Asian Hornet. So let's do. There you go. Better.
Yeah, that's not big at all, is it?
No. And I've only got a size 9 finger. Whatever.
Right. Okay.
So yeah,
So
so a big wasp. So not the size of a European hornet. They're certainly not the giant Asian hornet from Bengaluru, which is about 6 miles long. So it's just it's another wasp. It's all big, belongs to the wasp family. European hornet is just a bigger version of a wasp. Asian hornet is a smaller version of a European hornet and a bigger version of a wasp. So they live perfectly happily in Asia. They don't eat babies for breakfast. It's just another insect.
right. Okay.
But there's nothing special about them. All these horror stories by the journalists about 6 people died in France. Well, if you're allergic, you're allergic. Otherwise, if you're not allergic, it just hurts. Like walking into a scaffold or something. You'll know about it, but you won't die.
You know, I hit it that hard. I had a bee suit on, and the ball was coming across. So as I come around the corner, I hit it that hard. My body kept coming up, so it got us in there and then in there. Like it was, it made us sit down and have a think. Do you know what I mean? Where you're like, yeah, it hurt. I won't lie to you, it hurt. But luckily, I'm not a good-looking chap, so it didn't do much to damages. So that's all right. Yeah, I'll be fine. I'll be absolutely fine. Yeah. So what are they? How do your calls come about? People just know what they are. They'll ring you up, or do they always come in as Asian Hornets? Do they get mistaken, or how's this coming about?
For example, my local town, Saint-Amand-Montrond, which is where Julian Alaphilippe was born. If you're into your cycling, whatever, he's on the Tour de France.
Right. Yeah.
There's a population, I think, of about 10,000.
Okay.
So they've put a letter around several years ago saying if you find an Asian hornet, report it to the police municipal, so the local police. I've had the contract for the town for the last, well, since it first happened. So, but they'll contact me. They will identify whether it's an Asian hornet or a European hornet or a wasp. And if they determine it's an Asian hornet nest, I'll come along and treat it. So
Right.
there's not a beekeeper in sight getting involved. Beekeepers will contact me and say, we found a nest. I can't, because I'm a pest controller and summer's my busy time, I can't, sorry, I don't have the time to go around hunting for Asian hornet nests. If someone wants to find an Asian hornet nest, fine, let me know and I'll treat it. But yeah, I'm not going to traipse around hither and thither trying to find a nest, although they are relatively easy to find.
Go on then, talk us through that. What are they looking for? Where are they going to turn up? Where are they not going to turn up?
They will turn up anywhere from underground, so you can build a nesting ground, yeah, anywhere up to 40 meters. But primarily, they fly in a straight line. So if you identify an Asian hornet and it's just follow it, see where it's flying. The territory is going to be, if there's a lot of them, the nest will be quite close by. So they just find out where they're flying to. It's that easy.
Right.
So yeah, there's nothing special. I mean, you're up in Middlesbrough land. You don't have European hornets.
No, so I've always said I've never seen a hornet up here ever. However, this summer I saw my first hornet. It was dead. It was on the floor in a cafe in Thirsk, which is not that far from us. Spoke to the cafe owners and they said, "Oh, every couple of years one will turn up around here, but they don't have a population of them. I think it's a little bit further south than Thirsk if you're going to get regular hornet sightings.
Okay.
I know people up here who said that they're aware of them being up here, but I've never spoken to anyone who's actually seen one up here, like properly from Middlesbrough and north. It just doesn't happen. You know, I've never had a call for one. That's a guarantee. In fact, I probably wouldn't kill one if I saw one, like a European hornet's nest. I'd just probably leave it alone, I think.
If pest control is controlling pests, if they're 300 meters down the end of your garden, like you do in Middlesbrough, you have 300 meter long gardens. We do.
Yeah, you do.
10 acres, 25 acres. If it's far enough away from the house, I'll say leave it alone. They're not going to bother you. And as long as you don't piss them off and kick footballs out of their nest, they'll leave you alone. So I generally find Asian hornets and European hornets less aggressive than your German wasps.
Right. So right. Yeah,
if you look at a German wasp, they'll have you. If you look at an Asian hornet, they'll just, sorry, European hornet, both even, they'll just look at you and go, yeah, and if you're still there after 5 minutes, they'll go, yeah, telling you, back off. And if you're still there after another 5 minutes, they'll go, well, I've told you twice, boof, then they'll have you.
Right. Okay.
So the wasp will just go, you near me, I'm going to have you. I'm going to tell my friends and they're going to have you as well. So European and Asian hornets, less aggressive.
Okay. So then, straight away when you say they're that high up in a tree, clearly the wasp gear that I have would absolutely not be suitable. Would not get you that high.
What have you got? An AR?
I've got an AR8. I don't like it. It's unwieldy. It's too tall. We tend to use just a straight wasp one for 99% of our jobs. It'll reach the gutter line of most houses. Real handy little bit of kit. The AR8 comes out. If it's higher than that, it probably gets used about once a year, something like that, twice a year. Yeah, we don't do. Wasps tend not to be that high.
I use a lance telescopique, which is a telescopic pole in English, which will do, I can reach from ground level, easily do 20 meters, but it needs to be leant against a tree. So you just stick it up, and it's got a hose and it connects to the DR5. DR5 being the powder.
So that has enough power to get it up that dust up to that height.
The 3 bar is close. The 5.5, you can adapt it to 5.5 bar, the DR5, 5 bar, 5.5 bar, and that's fine.
Okay. And what chemicals are you using, and how much are you using? It always makes us giggle. I can remember you put a video on of treating a an Asian Hornets nest. And the amount of pest controllers in this country who had a comment on to tell you how it was done right and wrong. And I was thinking, I've never even seen one. None of us have seen one. You don't know what he's using. You don't know what like, you know. So what are you using, and what sort of dosage rates are you using on that?
Dosage rate on a large Asian hornet nest, which will have about 10,000 hornets, is maximum 250 grams. So it says on the packet 100 to 250 grams of product is all you need. And
Right.
it works out about, a jam jar. So it's one pressure, one squirt from the DR5. That's enough to kill the nest. Because what you do, you inject the nest, then all the hornets in the nest will panic. They'll flap their wings and they'll contaminate the whole nest themselves within a matter of seconds. So the reason you've got platelets on a wasp nest is for the air conditioning. So when a wasp nest gets too hot, they'll flap their wings and then circulate the air around. So it shouldn't, a wasp nest or hornet nest shouldn't overheat. Same principle, when you inject the nest, the whole nest will panic, and then they'll just distribute the powder around the nest in a matter of seconds.
And so you're just literally walking up straight. Do they have an open bottom, or do they have a hole like a wasp nest? Or
Okay,
like...
the wasp nest is normally a solid thing, and they'll have one or 2 points of entry. European hornet's nest will have, it's more like a cigar. So it's conical, and the bottom is open, and they'll fly in and out from the bottom. The adults will give them the larvae, and then the European hornet larvae will just basically piss and shit straight through the onto the bottom. So you'll get a hornet urine stain underneath the nest. That's on European hornets. Asian hornets are generally round, and they'll have one entry point.
So what you doing? Are you injecting like a DR5 straight into that hole? Are you going in through the side, or what are you doing to treat them?
If it's 20 meters up, you can't necessarily get it in the hole. You just need to get it into the nest.
Into the nest and whack it.
Whack it. The DR5 will come with a standard nozzle, which is fine. You can still, when you, after experience, after you've done it so many times, you'll know when you get good at it. You'll know when you got it in the nest. But there are other nozzles available which got multi jets. So you've got a dozen holes. So you spray it, and then it'll just go. The dust will come out. That's what we've seen in the video where I've put the product, the nozzle into the nest, but one hole wasn't completely into the nest, so that one came out. But the product I use is permethrin based. If it's in a safe area where there's no water nearby. Otherwise, I use piperonyl butoxide. Piperonyl butoxide is a more eco-friendly product, but I was told after 1 year of a lot of failures that piperonyl butoxide doesn't work so well at over 25 degrees centigrade. All right, for you living in Newcastle and that Middlesbrough place, but yeah, for us down in the middle of France, we go to bed in the summertime when it's over 28 degrees. So it's not so good for us when you have temperatures of 40 degrees, but anything below 25 degrees, you should be all right with piperonyl butoxide.
Right. Okay. I think that was probably one of the confusions with your video then, because you've never used bendiacarb, have you?
No. Everybody assumes that. Everybody says, about this FICMD. I've never used it in my life.
Honestly, like when you say a jam jar is the recommended dosage, a jam jar, I could probably get about 20, 30 wasp nests out of it. It took that little, but we're losing it. We don't have it, or we won't have it after the summer of 2025, I think. So we'll probably be dropping back to a permethrin or to a, whether that's synthetic or a natural permethrin. But
Permethrin's natural.
no, I think I'll help you with this. I think I know
Go on then.
something.
Go on then.
Ooh. Most permethrins are synthetic. The natural one is from chrysanthemum flowers, but
That's
the vast
real
majority of
funky.
ones that you buy will be manufactured in a lab, and they're usually more, my understanding is they're usually a better product in terms of efficacy. But the natural chrysanthemum is far more kinder to the environment. But we tried it, mate, and it's horrendous. Like when you say you put like a jam jar in, you could pretty much empty, like, yeah. And it just was no good. Like, I think we would probably go to a liquid. We've got some liquids for outdoor uses.
Liquid's good. That's usually permethrin based as well, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, but if you get them with an oil, I'm not the right person to talk to about this. To be fair, there's different formulations, and there's like emulsions, there's oils, there's whatever it is. And if you get the oil-based ones, they absolutely roll them over super quick. We've got one called Cypher Max Plus, which is pretty good, really, really good. We do have a product called Prevector, which I would love to know if it works against Asian Hornets. I've never really heard anybody talk about using it for wasps other than us.
What's it called?
Prevector. It's not it's a chemical, but it's not a
Can you spell it without the accent?
Yeah, so it's Provecta, Provecta. But it works on a physical mode of action, and if you use it on what
Prevector for cats.
who makes it? I don't remember who makes it now. It's a kill germ product. Yeah, it's a kill germ product. Yeah. But I tell you now, I don't care what anyone says. There is nothing that knocks wasps over as fast as it. Nothing.
Okay.
But there's no residual to it. So it literally, like, if a wasp gets it on it, it will freeze the wasp, physically hold it in place, and kill it that way, so it can't move. But you can go into a loft space with it, and there's no dosage on it. You can just keep using it because it's not like that. So you just spray them, and it gets on them. They hit the floor, and they don't manage to crawl an inch, like, and they're just solid. It's really, really, really good, and you can use it externally. So, it is a chemical. It's wrong to say it's not a chemical treatment, but it's not a toxic chemical.
Okay. Okay. Now, if Killgerm UK are doing it, you can send me a link to that. That would be good. Killgerm have just opened up in France, by the way.
Okay, yeah.
I went to their inaugural session and met up with Rupert Broom.
I've never met him. I've heard the name. I don't know him. I know.
I think most people call him Don.
All right, yeah. Yeah. He's not going to hang around with me then, is he?
He's a nice bloke, actually. He's a young
Yeah. But see, so basically, you're just getting these calls exactly the same as a wasp job.
Yeah.
Someone rings up and says, I've got an Asian hornet nest. They probably know what they are. They're not coming in as European hornets or not coming as wasps, and you're turning up and going, yeah, that's actually Asian hornets. They kind of know what they are. You turn up, get your dust stick out or your whatever it is, and just direct treatment straight into the nest, job done.
Yeah, thank you very much. Give us your money. I'm off. Next job. I treat them just as another wasp nest.
As easy as that.
As easy as that. There's no panic. There's no anything. I've got a photograph. I'll dig it out and I'll send it to you. This old lady, 80 odd years old, she was doing her gardening on a little concrete trough, ding, and when the ivy from a tree off the side of her wall came down in the autumn time, there was this massive Asian hornet nest, and she was working below that nest for all summer.
Not fine.
No. And when the daughter came along and just went, "Brrr," let's call Rob Moon.
Oh, yeah. And the beekeepers, how are the beekeepers coexist? Or do you know how the beekeepers are coexisting with them other than Richard? Or is Richard a fair representation of what you are hearing from beekeepers? Or because obviously this is the major worry for everyone, isn't it? That they're going to come in and eat the living daylights out of all our bees.
Okay, Richard is on the north coast of France, so he's where is he? He's Conway, Brittany,
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 yeah,
Brittany. So yeah, he's 500 kilometers from me.
right.
He shouldn't be treating him unless he's qualified.
No, he's not. He was whacking him with a squash racket, I think. Is what he was doing, and some of his blogs are quite interesting. He wasn't going looking for them or anything like that. He was just saying there's very little we could do. He was talking about beekeepers doing a lot of spring queening,
Yeah,
to try and get their numbers down. And I think I probably have to watch it rather than listen to me because I sometimes pick up things wrong. I'm sure he was saying that the year before they'd had a very quiet year, and presumed that they were doing okay, so they didn't do a lot of spring queen, and then like last year, and of course it just came back and bit them with a vengeance. And there was just, he said they were just all over, like absolutely smashed the living daylights out of them. So yeah, perhaps if it got that far and we wanted to go down that route, are you knowledgeable on traps? Are you just a straight turn up and whack them with a dust stick?
what they do, in fact, credit to Jersey. They do a lot of spring queening, so they put traps out and they'll catch the Asian hornets and then just kill them, but they'll release the wasps and the European hornets. So I haven't got a problem with that. I think they do a good job on that. It's a method of removing their nests, which I take objection to. But the other thing in Jersey, their population density is something like 950 people per square kilometre. Where we are, it's 43. So
Right.
there's no way that you're going to get the same amount of volunteers going out hunting for Asian hornet nests. So it just won't happen. So whereas they're proactive in finding nests and doing what they do with them, I'm proactive in destroying nests when someone tells me there's a nest.
Yeah. So if I had a magic wand and I waved it and I said Rob Moon's going to come over here and he's going to be in charge of Asian Hornet in trying to keep us Asian Hornet free on the mainland, what program would you set up or what advice would you give? How would you go about dealing with it?
I would just get a list, get a load of qualified, certified pest controllers who are competent in treating wasp nests to go out and nuke them, and just use. You've got the products. Pest controllers who do wasp nests on a regular basis are perfectly competent and qualified to treat them. You don't need any special product. You don't need to be a keeper. Just don't get window cleaners, don't get chimney sweeps, but a properly qualified, certificated. Get my ID badge with me. Ding. There you go. There's me.
Yeah.
Qualified pest controller is all you need.
And if you say the fly in a straight line, I'm guessing if someone was to find them hawking around the outside of a beehive, you can just literally watch the direction that they arrive and go back from.
Within reason. The
Right.
reason I say that is they'll catch not necessarily a bee, but they'll catch an insect. Then they'll take it to the nearest tree, chop their head off, chop the thorax off, and then take the abdomen to the nest. So it's once they've left that tree, then you follow them.
Right. So they're not eating the whole thing, they're literally just eating the fat, juicy back backside of it.
The arse is where the protein is.
Ah,
Did I just say that?
out, out loud on tape. Yeah,
Yes.
right. Right. Okay. So we're looking at that, and then just a case of whacking them, and it doesn't sound. Yeah. How much of a danger do you think these are arriving on the mainland? Do you think it's a matter of if rather than when? Sorry, when rather than if that we get them in numbers and have to
Yes,
deal with it?
but again, I disagree with what Jersey say. I don't think they wake up at springtime and go, "Oh, let's fly over to Jersey," because there's enough stuff on the mainland. I think they just get taken over by a character. The first nest in the UK was found in Gloucester, that well-known hub between France and England. So it's been
Yeah,
carried over.
Northumberland's a kind of it's just a quick
That's the one. Yeah,
minute.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm going to leave Bessay Fromental in central France and I'll fly up to Northumberland.
Yeah, well, good taste, yeah, absolutely, yeah. Right, so it's probably going to be moved in, and we just need to keep an eye on them and see what happens. And
Yeah.
very much like a wasp nest, you'll see them coming and going. Get into them early. Don't leave them to reproduce because they're good. I'm so surprised that there are so many fertile queens. Because, and again, I might be wrong on this. My understanding is that with wasps, that the queens emerge, the virgin queens emerge at the end of the year, will fly off, be mated, and then will go and put themselves into a hibernative or diapause state somewhere. I didn't really. They must fly off, get mated, come back, and sit around the hive for a bit, do they?
I don't know, to be quite honest. When I appeared on the one show with Mike Dilger, he came over here for a few days. That was
Right.
2015. What I was told at the time, which I think is slightly, it's not correct. So what I said on TV was probably not correct. Was in the European hornet, you'll have one queen controlling the whole nest. With regard to Asian hornets, you can have 30, 50, 100 fertile queens controlling the one nest. When that nest gets too big for its surrounding, the queens will then disperse and form satellite nests. Now, other people have said that's complete pony. I don't know. I just kill the nest. So I keep out of the entomology. If somebody wants to tell me something, I'll tell the clients that.
Right. It's funny you say that, because I actually watched a video of a guy who he caught it's I can't remember where it was now. He caught it I'm sure it was an Asian hornet, and he grew it in a glass tank. And at the end of the season, you could see through, and the amount of queens that was in that nest was absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah. But what you bear in mind is that nest has gone from that big to 10,000 hornets, and they've had to go and eat somewhere. So they've gone off and these are the beekeepers that are saying, "Oh, we've got to protect our bees from the Asian hornets. We'll grow a nest in a fish tank and we'll release the hornets out so they can feed on our bees." Where's the logic in that?
So what was the thinking behind them growing it in a fish tank?
To see what happens to an Asian hornet nest, see how it grows. But they've got to eat, so they release them. They also did one where they relocated an Asian hornet nest to see what happens. But they say that an Asian hornet will have to eat something like a kilo of food in its lifetime, i.e., the season. So when you've got 10,000, it's a lot of insects they've got to eat. So the beekeepers are, as I said, they're proactive in protecting their bees, and we're the experts on Asian hornets. So we'll grow an Asian hornet nest in a fish tank so they can eat our bees.
I would like to think that we're not going to go down that route of growing things and letting them live. I would like to think that we're going to be a hard stamp on anything that turns up.
If the mainland UK doesn't listen to the advice that you speak to any French pest controller, they'll tell you exactly what I'm saying. If you're DEFRA, you listen to Jersey, and you're going to be fucked.
Right.
I've said that to Matt Davis at Killgerm. I've said it. I'll say it to anybody that is prepared to listen to me. If you go down the route that they've done in Jersey, you're doomed. And if you go down the method that France started off, you're doomed. So France started off, as I said, shooting the nests out of the skies, and that's when they proliferated. Had they been sort of, oh, Asian Hornet nest, let's destroy that. You don't need to do any more experimenting on it. It's lived for thousands of years in Asia. You don't need to do any more experimenting, testing, and see what happens if it's put into a baby's ear. It's been done.
Yeah. Well, it'll be. Yeah. Obviously, I keep bees and I'm a pest controller. But even if it was a source of income to us, and I wasn't a beekeeper, I still don't want them. I hope they don't arrive. I hope that, or should I say, I think it's probably better to say when they do arrive, that we can deal with them fast and get them under control and really, really get a hold of them. I just can't help thinking that for every one that we find, there must be one that's getting past us.
Absolutely. As I said, you can control these. You should be able to control them in an island the size of Manchester. Whereas I did 50 nests, and my area is about 55 kilometers radius, 30-mile radius, and I had 50 nests. So
right, 200
nests in an area the size of Manchester is just beholds.
Right. Okay. Well, I can't lie to you. Like it does concern. Yeah. No. I mean, it does concern me that we're going to get them. I don't want them here under any circumstances.
So you find it, you kill it.
Yeah, the treatment is, well, the initial handling of it is way beyond my pay grade. It's going to take some boffin to make the rules up on what they're going to do, and they've already got sort of Asian Hornet Watch and these apps and all that sort of stuff. I'm just thinking that I wonder if the first wave of sightings of Asian Hornets in this country is going to, like, if they really arrive, is going to be hawking around beehives, or whether
it will be, because it's an easy catch. It's like, I don't know, selling burgers at a football stadium. People's there, or pies. People are there, they'll buy it. It's a captive audience. So if you've got lots of insects which are easy target, they'll go there.
My understanding is as well that they're more than happy to predate on wasps. Quite handy at killing a wasp or two, the Asian Hornet.
Yeah, they don't just eat bees, they eat insects.
All insects.
Yeah. I've seen, they eat, I've seen them on apples, so they're omnivores. I've seen them on, they'll eat dead chicken. I think in Jersey they did one experiment, they put dead fish on tree trunks. And they're happy eating that. It's protein they're after. Protein and sugar. Sugar is protein.
Well, there we go. Thank you very much for your time. It's we look forward to not having to deal with them, but I have a funny feeling that at some point we will probably get a shout. I feel like as a country we were probably underprepared in terms of the gear that we have. If you're carrying 20-meter poles, we don't have them in this country to that standard, and I'm guessing that there's probably some sort of investment to come with them, which concerns us, because I wonder what they're going to do when they get a job that high up.
I've spoken to Matt Davis at Killgerm UK. The new directress at Killgerm France used to be at Ediolux, and she bought the Lance telescopic, the 20-meter pole. So Matt knows about it. I've told him about what's required for treatment. So I think Matt Davis is a good guy to speak to with regard to getting the thing set up. But if you can get the NBU involved, you can be buggered.
But yeah, I understand why they see it as their thing, because it will affect them badly. However, it's that old thing. We obviously do a lot of cutouts, and it always makes me giggle because they
Just
say, "Oh
because you,
well, there's bees in a chimney," and I go, "If the bees weren't in the chimney, would you go up there and repair it?" And they're like, "No, of course I wouldn't." So what difference does it make? There's bees in the chimney. Like it's not. It isn't. It isn't beekeeping, and this this Asian hornet is not beekeeping, is it? There's no way in the world that it is beekeeping. Not a chance.
a qualified pest controller is authorized to sell products that can kill. They don't just kill their target species, they can kill humans, kill dogs, kill whatever. What makes a beekeeper a qualified pest controller? Just because they got a bee suit?
Yeah, and my worry is that there are beekeepers by their nature. I think the vast majority of them are usually academics. And when you said they're going to want to do experiments and all that, I think, oh my life. Sometimes you just have to jump on a problem and stamp on it, don't you, nice and early, and not let it become a problem. So I
And,
hope there's no egos get involved in this, and I hope if they do arrive, we can be sensible and really smack the living daylights out of them.
now, there was I responded to somebody on some forum who was a beekeeper, and they basically replied, "Well, that just obviously shows that you know fuck all about about wasps and hornets." So I posted that on the UK Facebook forum, and they went, "Oh, nice one." I think I know how to destroy a wasp nest, and I think
Yeah,
I do know what I'm talking about. But
yeah,
hey, but beekeepers obviously know better than pest controllers. So yeah, beekeepers, you're a qualified pest controller, and you keep bees. But
yeah,
just because you're a beekeeper doesn't make you a qualified pest controller. The products we use kill. Just because you're a
yeah,
bee doesn't make you qualified.
yeah. Well, let's see what happens. I know last year I threatened to come over and do a little bit with you. I think this year I'm going to
Please
put something in
do.
the diary, and
Please
we'll
do.
September, isn't it, for the Asian Hornet season?
August, September, August, about that big.
Yeah.
September, a bit bigger. September, October is great time of year.
If
I
I
can't,
if I look for something back end of September, I'll be right.
okay. If you wait until October, when the leaves come off the tree, or when it at the end of summer, just as the leaves start falling off, is probably the best time
Okay, let's
because
have a look at that then.
then you get maximum size nests, and I'll get my paintball gun out as well.
Oh, paintball gun. What? Go on. So you shoot them with a paintball?
Yeah,
Oh, right. Yeah, we're definitely not prepared for that, are we? We need to have a think about what we've got. But yeah, listen, Rob, I've taken up enough of your time. I hope this will give a few people a little bit of a look into it, and we'll look at maybe start of October for when we can come over and do a little bit with you. All right,
yeah, perfect. But yeah,
good gentlemen.
have a word with the MBU and say leave them alone. It's a pest control job.
I'm not even getting involved in that. There's, they're not going to listen to me. I know nothing about Asian Hornets, and I'm not an academic, so
Okay.
I will step up when needed, if needed, at some point in the future. But I won't get involved. So we'll
But
see.
there is a huge amount of business to be had for a non-qualified pest controller if you want to teach us or remove bees from chimneys. Got a lot of. I went to one yesterday. It's a chateau with bees in the chimney, and don't do it, love.
Yeah, well,
But
book a week, and we'll book a
if
week,
I
and I'll
don't
come
do it,
over.
if I don't do it, someone's going to do it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Book a week, and I'll come over. Well, let's have a chat about that in the future. But thank you very much for your time. I'm going to shoot because guess what I'm going to do this afternoon?
Oh,
No, I'm going to go and do a bit more beekeeping. So God bless.
you, no tease. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
you're more than welcome. Leslie looks forward to seeing you, and yeah, Leslie's my wife, by the way, in case anybody didn't know who I was talking about. But yeah, good to see you, Sean.
My
And
pal and shit. God bless, young man. Speak soon.
you, buddy. Bye.
Bye, 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 bye.
Bye.